Welcome back. Today we took out a Ray SPX 210 Outboard. A boat that I personally really love. This being an outboard, I think there's many advantages to having an outboard instead of an inboard version, which is also fine, of course. But there will be some features that I will be explaining, advantages of an outboard versus an inboard. Being here in the bow area of this SPX 210, I really love this area. Today actually is a beautiful day, and this shows the perfect example of how you can actually use this front area, being in one way protected, having really nice backrests. And you can see I'm 1.92 m, that I could easily have two people next to me. This, in my experience, usually is the area which is used by kids. But still, being an adult, there's plenty of place to sit around, and not only in this position, but also if I would turn around. This is a fine way to sit also. But turning around again, what I always appreciate on any Ray is the ergonomics. Notice the grab handle being in exactly the right place, angled in a way that it just feels comfortable. I could lean my arm like this, just sitting here in a really nice and comfortable way. Of course, now with the filler piece being placed here, this is a full sun lounge, but it can also be open so that you can actually walk from the cockpit all the way to the bow area. If I would take these two cushions out and this, it would simply be open, but I have noticed that many people just leave it like this. Sometimes they only take out these two pieces to walk in and out, which is also fine, of course. The bow area actually is extremely wide, and of course that offers you plenty of space, but not only that, there's a really nice step on here, which is actually quite beamy. It's this wide, there's non-skid here, so a great place to get on and off the boat from the bow area. And of course, like we're used to with Ray, we have the nice stainless steel cleats with the Ray logo engraved. You should have polished this for the video. Sorry about that. But this is a really beautiful cleat, stainless steel. And all parts, well, not all, but most of them, like hinges, etc., are all made out of stainless steel of a 316 quality. Like, for example, this rub rail, a nice detail, having this stainless steel insert here. Of course, it doesn't only look good, but it has a practical side to it because it doesn't damage easily, and you could still polish it if you were to hit the dock at some instance. It's not immediately damaged. So, nice rub rail, beautiful bow area. Of course, you can close this window. Let me step over it at this moment. While driving, you close this, and of course, it's a safety thing, but not only that, you take away the wind from the cockpit. So if you were to anchor with the bow going against the wind, you would take away the wind, and it would be really nice and comfortable to sit here and enjoy the sun without having a chilly wind in the cockpit. Talking about the cockpit, I really like this setup with, of course, a nice helm and a seat that also is turnable, so you could actually turn this around and enjoy this area. And I have a nice group of friends here, but the same applies for this seat here. You could actually lift this and put it in this position so that you can actually lounge here, or take it all the way down so that you add seating area. So if you have a big group of friends, this actually is really big for a 21-foot boat. But if you have a big group of friends, you could all sit here and enjoy, well, the nice sunny day, have a nice drink, have a meal or something. But also this can be used to lie down in the sun, being protected with the windshields from here, especially if you close this down and if you use this filler piece here, giving you even more shelter from the wind. Detailing, all as you were used to with Ray, is always nice. I mean, it's not only that this has been covered by a nice piece of upholstery, but it's the stitching, it's the detailing. These seat bases having this small angled well, I wouldn't call it, but slightly elevated piece here, which protects you from sliding off. And again, ergonomics, grab rail at exactly the right place, so a great cockpit. And especially love this teak table, with which you can use as this round teak table, which I think comes as an option. But we also sometimes install a bigger, kind of rectangular, custom-made C-Ray table, with which you have a huge table if you really want to have a proper meal with your family in this cockpit. Of course, there's plenty of storage also. You have this lockable ski locker here. Sorry, this isn't lockable. This is lockable. This is lockable, the glove box here. And there's quite a big one underneath this locker, being really big. But not only that, you also have some carpeting inside, so that if you put some stuff in there and you do some driving, it isn't damaged immediately. It's a nice detail, which I think proves that C-Ray has a lot of experience building boats. There's another storage area below here, and of course there's this nice helm seat. So also here at the steering position, I really like the ergonomics, and I'm pointing that out because you have a nice footrest here, which is slightly angled, which makes you feel protected yet comfortable. Love the small details such as this C-Ray logo, but also here you could put your arm on here and rest it while using the throttles like this. This seat base now being in the flip-up position, which is comfortable. Well, I wouldn't say comfortable, practical, if you need to have a good overview of what's going on around you. But if you were to actually drive and be more comfortable, you would put it down like this. The seat slides forward enough. I also like this bucket style seat with which you're protected, so you don't fall out if you do some tight corners or something. And it also turns around so that it is a part of this social area in the cockpit. But again, ergonomics are really good. The steering wheel can be tilted up or down. Nice stainless steel switches with a small light here. Fusion stereo, active trim. This actually isn't really necessary, because you could also use the active trim or control the active trim from this Simrad screen, but that is an option which is not on all boats. And then if you still want the active trim, you can control the active trim from here. Fire extinguisher, my eye is just caught by this fire extinguisher, which is mounted here, a practical place. But there's, of course, with every C-Ray, there's an automatic fire extinguishing system in the engine bay. Speakers right here in the center. So a really great setup. I also love this visor, taking away a bit the direct sunlight, protecting this area a bit. Having said that, it isn't really necessary, because these Simrad screens really are so bright that even in direct sunlight like we have now, it is clearly visible. It's switched off, by the way. But still, really nice screen, which I'll come back to when we do some driving. I mentioned the really big ski locker here. And yeah, I also still like, we're in the meantime used to it, but in well, many years ago, I would say somewhere between 5 and 10 years ago, most sport boat builders used to build the windows like this, where they're cornered. I still see some brands doing that, where you have this round corner, which of course looks nice, but this just gives it more space, because you use this corner also, so it is a more roomy boat. It is a 21-footer, but especially the cockpit here just feels really big. Cup holders on that side, there's two there, there's one here. There's of course a grab handle on that side too. I also like, I'm not sure whether you can, I need to point it out here. I like these nice details with the stitching and the C-Ray logo stitched in the backrest here. So really nicely done. There's of course a mobile cooler, which you take when leaving home, and you put your cold drinks in there, but you can have a cooler right here. I'm actually not sure. Yes, it's on this boat as well. So there's an active cooling system and a cooling area here, which is quite big, well, huge actually, especially for a 21 footer. So really practical to keep your drinks cold while having a nice day on the water. Bimini, of course, all stainless steel, not only the tubes, but also these connectors and the small rubberish piece inside so that it doesn't rattle. It's also the nice attention to detail that we're used to with Sea Ray. And what I like are these Fender Clips. They're really great, stainless steel. They just feel like they're high quality things, but they're really practical because, as you can see, you just put them in and take them out and store them in your boat. So it's just a quick way of attaching and removing fenders. This piece now being here makes this a great sun lounge area. I'll just show you how long it is. I'm 1.92 m, so it really is long. So plenty of place to lie down and enjoy the sun. But you can also use this as a walkthrough. If you take away this cushion, open up the side and take away this piece, you could just walk in and out the boat easily, especially for elderly people. If you want to bring your grandma or someone who's maybe less mobile, you could take this out and go on and off the boat more easily. Please note also this sea deck. Of course, it's an option. This is the brown color. You can also have it in gray. I really love this because it just feels very comfortable on your feet. It's easy to clean. It looks nice. So a really nice option. Most of our customers actually choose it, which I perfectly understand. There's a swimming ladder here. And the nice thing I always find with Sea Ray is that they made it in a way that it's mounted and you don't trip over it. So it's flush. So you could actually still have your feet like this. And it has 4 steps, so it's really deep, making it easy to get in and out of the water. Not only that, so Sea Ray thought about the ergonomics again. There's a grab handle on exactly the right spot, so that you can get in and out of the water easily. There's a ski pylon here. Of course, you more or less need this when you use an outboard, so this comes as a standard. I think it's a really practical solution, and for me that would be one of the advantages slash reasons to choose the outboard instead of the inboard version, because this just makes towing a lot easier. Usually with inboard boats, the towing point is right here, which means that the line catches the water earlier. So if you go backwards, if you go in reverse while maneuvering, it is caught in the propeller more quickly than here, where the line touches the water way back. And not only that, if people are into wakeboarding, if you jump wake to wake, this higher position makes jumping wake to wake more easily. So a really nice feature. A beautiful Mercury V6 outboard. I really love these engines, and having just been driving this boat, getting to this place, it makes me appreciate the really nice character of these V6 engines. They're smooth, they're quiet, yet they're really agile. If you use the throttles, this boat jumps out of the water. But I really don't want to say too much, because of course we'll be taking her out for a spin. The nice Sea Ray SPX 210 logo right here at the back. And you may notice these points. That is also something that Sea Ray does with a purpose. Covers on boats, we usually don't like covers because it's cumbersome to put them on, take them off. Not really on the Sea Ray. It's made in a way that you usually start at the bow, take it all the way to the aft. And what happens is with the material that the covers are made of, they tend to shrink, so that after 1-2 years, I don't know, they really don't fit properly anymore. And it's usually on other boats quite a struggle to attach these last points of the cover. Not on the Sea Ray, because they used specifically those so that you have a piece of elastic band and you just pull it out and take it over this pin. So there's space to more or less compensate this shrinking of the cover, which is a natural thing, but it works perfectly with this solution. Another advantage of having an outboard, of course, is that there's plenty of storage. Let me open it up. Sorry, I have to take it off properly. Because, of course, there's no engine. So as you can see, you have a great, huge storage area. Not only here, but also here. There's plenty of space. So imagine, well, fenders, life vests, all kinds of toys, towables. You could all store them here easily. Doesn't really matter if it's wet, because this is all material that can handle a bit of water. And any water that would come off would just drain underneath here where there's a bilge pump. So every now and then, if you press the bilge pump, you empty any water that might be in there. And this piece here is kind of insulated, so you could also use this as an area to keep, if you have really lots of drinks, to keep them cool. And I'm forgetting this Ray Bimini being made out of a nice material, Sambrella, which resists mildew. And it's just a piece of material that supports the way Ray builds boats, is that every detail counts and they use the best materials available. That's same applies to this Bimini. So let's take her out for a spin. Before we actually take her up to speed, we're taking her out on the lake, and right in front of me is this Simrad display, which I still love. Maybe the cameraman can also show you how nice this feature is. What we've done here is we've installed the Navionics chart with the Platinum Plus version, so you can have a Google overlay over land and even over water, but I really like this feature. So you can see that it's really nice and detailed. This is us, but I really like these screens, and I like the way it's really intuitive, but also it gives you a really nice image of where you're at and where you're going to, and you can have all the data of your engine right on this screen here. So I really like having these Simrad displays. Again, in direct sunlight, they're still really good to watch. There's really a good way to see all the data you'd need. And while we're taking her out on the lake, let me also point out that I personally think that choosing an outboard versus an inboard gives some advantages. Then again, when we're in the showroom, when I'm talking to people and explaining all the advantages of an outboard, especially ladies tend to say, well, good story, I really like your arguments, but still I don't like having an outboard in my Trenton, which can be seen as a disadvantage. Of course, it takes away a part of your swimming platform and the boat is slightly longer, but then again I think there's many advantages. So let me just name them. The way I'm driving now, we're doing 7 kilometers an hour. I can let go of the wheel and it's still going straight. People having experience with inboard propelled sport boats such as this 21-footer will know that this is something that is just impossible with a stern drive boat. That is one of the disadvantages of having a stern drive. To say it a bit exaggerated, the boat tends to go like this, not with an outboard. It just goes straight. Second advantage is weight. Boat just in total is lighter. So you have less weight to carry around, making it easier to trailer an outboard propelled boat. Another thing is sound, noise coming from the engine. I just know from experience, especially with the modern engines from Mercury, that they're more quiet. A third one is space, like I just showed you, the huge storage space which is usually used with an inboard, now is just storage, so there's plenty of space to take all kinds of things. Maintenance, a stern drive boat, you have a bellows, for example, that needs to be replaced every couple of years, and it's a piece that is underwater with all kinds of technical things needing to be protected from water entering, so that needs to be checked by a mechanic at least every year. An outboard is just tilted above the water, so there's no algae growing on the outboard and there's less maintenance. The third one being that these V6s are just really modern engines. I'm not saying that the inboard engines are not, but in my personal experience, the development of outboard engines in the last 5 to 10 years have gone like this. So there are some advantages, but still the looks, some people just don't like having an outboard boat for the looks of it, but there's many advantages. And having been driving it this morning, coming to this area, I still really appreciate the outboard again. So here we go. Let me put the safety cord on. Let me take this down so that we're protected from the wind for the audio also. We're doing around 9 kilometers now, 1,200 RPM approximately. So this actually is a nice speed in Dutch waterways like we are in now. But of course it's a sporty boat. This has the V6 200 horsepower engine. Standard it would come with a 150 horsepower. I have not driven a 210 with a 150 horsepower, but I can imagine that is already plenty and a really nice combination to have. What I do like, and what I think is an advantage of the V6, is that you have this digital throttle and shift that doesn't come on the 150 horsepower. This is smoother, more quiet, but because there's no cables taking the sound from the engine to the controls here. And not only that, the shifting is easy when the boat is new, like now. You feel a small clunk, that's it. There's no rattling, finding this position in between. But I'm sure that in 10-20 years time it's exactly the same, because it's a drive-by-wire system. So there's no wear on these cables which you have with a regular setup. So again, digital throttle and shift, really nice. So let me take her up to speed. Just looking around me if there's any people around us, but it's nice and quiet. Taking her up to plane, which is really easy. There's plenty of power. We're already doing 30 kilometers, 38 in the meantime. It's so nice, smooth, quiet. Again, I can let go of the wheel, just go straight. Just feels like it's perfect. And it's so relaxing, yet it feels reliable. If I take corners, some turns now, I won't take the tight ones yet, but it's really simple. I mean, it's power assisted, so I can turn the wheel with one hand. It's so nice, so easy. But then again, sporty, because we're doing 37 kilometers an hour. If I push the throttle now, still it jumps. We're already doing 60, 70, 75, 80.3 kilometers an hour. It's terribly fast. But of course the fuel economy is important too. Let me take down the speed. Well, I was just doing around 38 kilometers an hour. I think we had a really good fuel economy. I don't know by heart what the optimum cruising speed is. We're doing 50 kilometers an hour now, which is actually quite fast, and it's doing 2 kilometers per liter, which is already really, really good. And I'm sure that if I take the speed down even further, now it feels kind of slow, but still we're doing 43. Let me go around 40 kilometers an hour. Yep, then the figure goes up so that we have more distance per liter of fuel, 2.12 approximately. This will probably be somewhere around the cruising speed, optimum speed. This boat again, as I mentioned, has the active trim, so I could do the trimming of the engine with my thumb like this, still possible, but it's just something that you don't need to think about anymore. It's done automatically. A great system which I would recommend everyone ordering. And every Sea Ray with this type of outboard also gets the system, the Vessel View Mobile, with which you connect to the engine and you can read out all the data, make a log of all the things you're doing, the trips you've made, log the maintenance on the engine. So a really nice feature that comes with this Sea Ray SPX 210. Again, let me take some tighter turns. There's some wind, so we're jumping over the waves a bit. This is a really tight turn of around the radius of maybe 10 meters. Don't hear the engine revving. It's fun. So, let me take the speed down. I do think we covered everything, so the only thing remaining is to thank you for watching. Keep on following us. We intend to have 10,000 subscribers, by the way, so please keep on following us. If we manage to get up to 10,000 subscribers, we're actually taking a half boat to England. So keep on watching, keep on following. Hope to see you in one of our next videos. Have a great day.